I feel like I've been distant, and I didn't mean to. I just didn't know how to say things. She felt a lump rise in her throat. Her son, always so reserved, was opening a door she hadn't realized was there. She reached for his hand across the table, a gesture small but full of reassurance. "You can always tell me anything," she whispered. "I'm listening." He nodded, and the silence returned, but it felt different this time. Not heavy or uncomfortable, but full of something fragile, something waiting to be understood. "Mom," he said again, this time firmer, "I think I've been scared to tell you that I sometimes feel invisible." Her heart ached. Invisible? How could he feel that in a home filled with love, in a life surrounded by people who cared for him? She squeezed his hand, fighting tears. "Daniel, I'm so sorry you ever felt that way," she said. "You are never invisible to me. You're my world." He swallowed hard, nodding, as if the words alone weren't enough to explain the depth of what he felt. "I know you love me, but it's more than that. I think I've been holding back because I didn't want to disappoint you. Or maybe because I didn't know how to be the son you wanted." She shook her head gently, brushing a tear from her cheek. "Daniel, I've never wanted you to be anyone but yourself. Your happiness matters more to me than anything else." A small, almost imperceptible smile tugged at his lips. It was fragile, like a candle flickering in the dark, but it was there. And in that moment, she realized just how much had been left unsaid between them. He took a deep breath, and she mirrored it, letting the weight of the moment settle between them. The rain outside softened to a gentle drizzle, and for a moment it felt like the world had paused just for them. Then he said something she hadn't expected, something that made her catch her breath. "Mom, there's more. I need to tell you the rest, but I don't know if I'm ready." Her grip on his hand tightened. "It's okay, Daniel. You'll tell me when you're ready. I'll wait as long as it takes." If you're enjoying this story so far, please like the video and subscribe for more heartfelt tales. The clock ticked quietly on the wall, and the rain whispered against the glass, but the space between them felt charged with something new, something unspoken, yet powerful. And she knew, deep down, that his confession, whatever it was, would change everything between them. The next morning, sunlight poured softly through the kitchen window, painting golden stripes across the floor. Daniel's mother sat with a cup of tea, her thoughts still tangled in last night's conversation. She kept replaying his words in her mind, trying to understand every nuance, every hesitation. She hadn't expected a confession, not like this. Her son was usually reserved, careful with his feelings, almost like he wore a shield no one could pierce. But last night, he had lowered it, if only just a little. Daniel came down the stairs quietly, his backpack slung over one shoulder. He looked older somehow, more serious, and it tugged at her heart. "Morning," he said softly, avoiding her eyes. "Morning, sweetheart," she replied, smiling gently. "Did you sleep okay?" He nodded, but she could see the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands fidgeted with the straps of his bag. Something was still weighing on him. After a moment, he set his backpack down and joined her at the table. "Mom, can I tell you now?" His voice was steady, but she sensed the effort behind it. "Of course," she said, reaching for his hand. "I'm here." Daniel took a deep breath, then began. "I've been hiding a lot of feelings, things I didn't think I should say, but I realized that keeping them in makes me feel worse, and I don't want to feel like that anymore." Her chest tightened. Every mother's instincts screamed to protect her child from the weight of his own thoughts. She nodded, encouraging him to continue. "It's about school and friends and me feeling like I don't really fit in anywhere," he said. "I see other kids who seem so confident, so sure of themselves, and I feel lost." She squeezed his hand gently. "Daniel, you are not alone in feeling that way. Everyone struggles to find their place sometimes. it doesn't mean you're not enough. He looked at her, eyes wide, as if her words were a lifeline.
But I didn't know how to say it. I didn't want to seem weak or like I was asking for too much. You're not weak, she said softly, and asking for help doesn't make you any less strong. You've been carrying this inside, but talking about it doesn't change how amazing you are. Daniel swallowed hard, and a faint tremble ran through his lips. There's more, he admitted. I've been afraid that you'd think less of me, but I've realized that I can't keep pretending everything is fine. Her heart ached. It hurt to know her son had been hiding so much, but it also filled her with gratitude that he trusted her enough to speak now. You don't have to pretend, she whispered. You never have to. Not with me. For a moment, silence fell between them. It wasn't awkward. It was comforting. The kind of silence that lets emotions settle and allows truth to shine through. Then Daniel's voice broke through the quiet. Mom, I think I'm ready to tell you everything, even the part I've been scared of the most. Her pulse quickened. The weight of those words pressed against her chest. She braced herself, not knowing what to expect, only knowing that whatever came next, it mattered. He hesitated, then finally began to share the part he had buried deep. Sometimes I feel like I'm not really seen, like I'm invisible in my own life. I try to be the son I think everyone wants, but I feel like I disappear when I try too hard. Tears pricked her eyes.
The vulnerability in his voice, the raw honesty, shook her. Daniel, you are seen, she said, her voice trembling. Every single part of you matters. I've seen you all along, even when you felt invisible. He nodded, swallowing hard, as if her reassurance was a bridge across the distance he had felt for so long. I've been holding this in for months, maybe even longer. I didn't know how to say it without feeling like I was disappointing everyone. Sweetheart, she said, her voice soft but firm. You could never disappoint me. You are enough, just as you are. He looked down, a small, almost shy smile forming. It was the first time she'd seen him truly let go of his fear. It was fragile, but it was real. And in that smile, she glimpsed a new beginning for their relationship, one built on trust, honesty, and love. But then, just as hope settled in, Daniel's expression changed. Something unspoken lingered behind his eyes, something heavier than anything he had revealed so far. There's one more thing, he whispered, voice tight. Something I don't even know if I should say. Her heart raced. She knew this confession would change everything between them. But she also knew she had to be patient. Let him choose the moment. The kitchen was quiet again, save for the soft clatter of the spoon against the cup. Outside, the sunlight flickered through the trees, like the world was holding its breath. Daniel's mother sat quietly, her heart pounding in her chest.
She could feel the weight of his words before he even spoke them. There was a pause, long, heavy, like the air itself was waiting for him to decide. Finally, he took a deep breath, and the words came slowly, almost hesitant. Mom, I think I've been scared of losing you. Her chest tightened. She blinked back a sudden wave of tears. Losing me, she whispered. Why would you ever feel that way? I don't know, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Sometimes I feel like if I'm not perfect or if I make mistakes, maybe you'd, I don't know, stop being proud of me. She reached across the table, gripping his hands tightly. Daniel, listen to me. Nothing could ever make me stop loving you. Not a single thing. You could never do anything to change that. He looked down, his fingers fidgeting with the edge of the table. I guess I've been carrying this fear for so long that I didn't even realize it. It's like I was walking around expecting the other shoe to drop all the time. She nodded, letting the words sink in. She understood completely. The invisible burden he had been carrying, the quiet anxiety that had shadowed his every move. Sweetheart, everyone feels that fear sometimes, but it doesn't mean you have to face it alone.
Daniel lifted her eyes, meeting hers with a vulnerability that made her heart ache. I've been holding it in for so long because I didn't want to worry you, but I realize now that keeping it inside just made it worse.
And I can't do that anymore. Her throat tightened. The boy in front of her, the son she had watched grow from a curious toddler into a thoughtful, sensitive young man, was opening his heart completely. She wanted to hold him forever in that moment, to let him know that he would never have to face anything alone again. "You're so brave, Daniel," she whispered, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "Brave enough to tell me the truth, brave enough to let me in. That takes more courage than you'll ever know." He smiled faintly, a little shy, but the tension in his shoulders seemed to ease. "I guess I just needed to hear that it's okay to not be okay, and that it's okay to let someone help you. You don't have to carry everything by yourself," she said softly. "I want to help you. That's what family is for. That's what love is for." Daniel nodded, a quiet understanding passing between them. For the first time in months, he felt a little lighter. The weight he had been carrying, hidden behind walls and careful words, was finally beginning to ease. But just as relief settled in, he hesitated again. "Mom, there's something else," he said, voice trembling slightly. "Something I've felt for a long time, but I didn't even realize it until recently." Her pulse quickened. She could sense that this next confession was even more significant, even more personal. "It's okay, Daniel," she whispered. "You can tell me anything." He looked down at his hands, twisting them nervously. "I think I've been scared of showing who I really am. I've been pretending to be someone else, someone I thought you wanted me to be. But I'm not that person, and I don't want to be anymore." Her heart ached. It was painful to hear her son struggle with the weight of expectations, even her own unspoken ones. "Oh, Daniel, you've never had to be anyone but yourself. I love you for who you are, not for who you think I want you to be." He looked up, tears brimming in his eyes, and she saw a flicker of hope, fragile but real. "I think I finally understand that I can be myself and still be loved. And it feels like a weight has lifted." She reached across the table, pulling him into a tight hug. "It has, sweetheart, and it always will. You are seen, you are valued, and you are loved, exactly as you are." For a long moment they held each other, letting the warmth of that connection fill the space between them. The sun outside had climbed higher, shining golden light into the room. But Daniel's mother knew that the brightest light was the one that had finally been allowed to shine inside him. Just as she began to hope that the hardest part was over, Daniel pulled back slightly, a conflicted look on his face. "Mom, there's one more thing, something I've never told anyone." Her heart skipped again. She could feel that the final truth, whatever it was, might change everything.
The room seemed to hold its breath, and she realized that their journey together was about to reach a turning point, one that would define their relationship forever. The kitchen felt unusually quiet that afternoon. Daniel's mother sat across from him, hands clasped tightly in her lap, her heart racing. She knew the moment had come, the one confession that had been weighing on him even heavier than everything else he had shared. Daniel swallowed hard, his eyes flicking toward the window as if he could gather courage from the sunlight spilling in. "Mom, I think I've been hiding a part of myself because I didn't understand it." Her pulse quickened. She leaned forward slightly, offering him her full attention. "It's okay, Daniel. You don't have to be afraid to tell me. I'm here for you." He nodded, taking a slow, shaky breath. I feel things deeply, more than I thought I did. And sometimes I can't control it. I get anxious, or frustrated, or sad, and I didn't know how to tell anyone." Her chest tightened. She reached for his hands again, holding them gently.
Sweetheart, there's nothing wrong with feeling deeply. That's part of what makes you who you are. And there's no need to hide it from me. He looked down at their intertwined hands, nodding slowly. I have been scared that if people really saw me, they wouldn't like me. That they'd see the real me and I'd be too much for them. Oh, Daniel, you are never too much.
You are everything I've ever hoped for in a son, and more. And anyone who truly cares about you will see that too. He blinked, a single tear sliding down his cheek. I think I've been holding all this in for so long that I forgot what it feels like to be completely honest with anyone. But with you, I feel like I can finally breathe. Her throat tightened as tears pricked her own eyes. Seeing her son so vulnerable, so honest, was both heart-wrenching and beautiful. That's exactly how it should feel. I want you to always feel safe enough to share yourself with me. No judgment, no expectations, just love. Daniel nodded again, taking a deep, shuddering breath. There's more, something I realized just recently. Her heart skipped. She could sense that this next admission would change everything, the final piece of the puzzle. I'm listening, Daniel. Whatever it is, I'll listen. He hesitated, then finally looked her in the eyes. Mom, I think I've been pushing people away because I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust that I could be understood. But now I realize I don't have to be alone. I can let people in, and that starts with you. Tears spilled down her cheeks. She reached across and hugged him tightly, feeling the fragile weight of his fears melt against her warmth. Daniel, you will never be alone again. Not with me. Not ever. You are loved beyond measure, and nothing you felt or hidden could change that.
He clung to her, the tension in his small frame slowly easing. She felt a profound sense of relief. A bridge had been built where there had been distance, a connection deepened by honesty and trust. I've never felt this safe before, he whispered, his voice muffled against her shoulder. I didn't realize how much I needed it. You deserve to feel safe, she said softly, brushing his hair from his forehead. And I'll do everything I can to make sure you always do. They sat together for a long moment, just holding each other, letting the truth settle around them like a protective blanket. The sunlight danced across the room, warm and gentle, reflecting the quiet transformation that had taken place between them. But then Daniel pulled back slightly, wiping his eyes. His expression shifted, serious and uncertain. Mom, there's one last thing I have to tell you. It's the hardest part. The part I've never told anyone before, not even my friends. Her heart lurched. She could feel it in her chest, the sense that the final truth, whatever it was, would change everything, but in a way that could finally bring them closer than ever before. The kitchen fell silent again, filled only with the soft hum of the refrigerator and the faint rustle of leaves outside. Daniel's mother knew the moment had arrived that could redefine their entire relationship. Daniel's mother held her breath, leaning slightly closer. She could feel the tension radiating from her son.
This was the moment, the final truth he had carried alone for so long. I've been scared, Daniel whispered, his voice barely audible. Scared that even if I told the truth, I'd still be misunderstood, that you'd see me differently and maybe not love me as much. Her chest tightened. Daniel, look at me, she said softly. He lifted his eyes, trembling, and she smiled through her tears. Nothing you could ever say would change how much I love you. Not one thing. He swallowed hard. It's not about something I did wrong, he said slowly. It's about who I am, about what I feel, and how I sometimes struggle to be the person everyone thinks I should be. Her heart ached. She had always known her son was sensitive, thoughtful, and quietly brave, but hearing it out loud
so raw and honest, touched her deeply. Sweetheart, you are exactly who you're meant to be, and I'm proud of you, not for what you do, but for who you are. Daniel's eyes welled up, tears spilling freely now. I didn't realize how heavy it was keeping all of this inside, he admitted. I didn't realize how much I needed someone to just see me. You are seen, Daniel. Every part of you, she whispered, brushing the tears from his cheeks. And I always will see you. Every thought, every feeling, every fear. I love it all, because I love you. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was comforting, full of understanding, of relief, of the quiet joy of a bond strengthened by honesty.
The weight Daniel had carried for months, maybe even years, was lifting, and in its place was trust, acceptance, and unconditional love. Finally, Daniel smiled, a real, unguarded smile that lit up his entire face. I think I finally understand what it means to be truly known, he said softly, and I feel free. Free to be myself with you. Her own smile matched his, tears glistening in her eyes. That's all I've ever wanted for you, she said. To feel safe, to be loved, and to know that you don't have to hide anything from me. They hugged again, this time not out of fear or uncertainty, but out of the sheer joy of being fully seen and understood. It was a hug that spoke volumes, of forgiveness, of acceptance, of love stronger than fear. Daniel pulled back slightly, still holding her hands. Mom, thank you for listening, for waiting, for believing in me even when I didn't believe in myself. You never have to thank me, Daniel, she said softly. You are my son. Loving you is the easiest thing I'll ever do. Outside, the late afternoon sun cast a warm glow across the kitchen. The world felt lighter somehow, quieter, as if it too was sharing in their relief and newfound closeness. Daniel's mother knew that this day, this conversation, would stay with them forever. It wasn't just a confession, it was a beginning, a chance to build a relationship on trust, openness, and the unwavering knowledge that no matter what, they would always have each other.
Daniel leaned his head on her shoulder, and she rested her cheek against his hair. I love you, Mom, he murmured. I love you too, Daniel, she replied, her voice steady but full of emotion. Always. And in that quiet, golden moment, they both knew that nothing could ever break the bond they had finally nurtured with honesty, courage, and love. A chapter of fear and silence had ended, and a new chapter of trust, understanding, and closeness had begun, one that would carry them through every challenge, every joy, and every moment in between. The rain from days ago had long since stopped, leaving only sunlight and warmth, a perfect reflection of their hearts, finally unburdened and fully open to each other. The journey had been long, and the confessions hard, but the result was priceless. A mother and son who truly saw each other, loved each other, and would never take that bond for granted again.